this is the lab and this is the credit, why you're trying to, redeem the credit and waiting for the lab. And this is today's agenda. So today's agenda is you're gonna build your very first agent first to somewhere you're familiar. And then you're gonna learn what is agent tool and why we need agent tool. Like there's a buzzword this year is a MCP server, right? How's tools related to MCP server and why your agent system need a tool, why everyone's talking about tool. And thirdly, we will talk about state. So basically, what is state? What does this terminology mean and why you need to care about it? And then how to manage the state in the agent system. And lastly, we will talk a little bit more like spicy, like advanced content is like callback. So callback, like basically you will understand what is callback in ADK agent and how to use callback to add in more control to manage the state in your agent system. So those are the key points we will cover in today's lab. So for those of you who have the lab link and have the credit link, feel free to redeem the credit and feel free to ask any questions in the chat. So we will have folks there to help you answering the question. Yeah, so for those of you who have the issue, like you got a 404 error, you might need to use a Gmail account. Like maybe you're using your corporate account or educational, like organizational account. So make sure you use a Gmail account and try to redeem it in the incognito window. The worst case scenario, if you really can't make it work, you can just watch this and learn the demo. And I can update the lab later on to see if I can fix that lab link. But yeah, while you're fixing that, I can talk about the foundation of agent. So the first question is why suddenly everyone's talking about the agent? Why agents suddenly become a buzzword, suddenly become the thing, and every like organizations think, oh, we need to build an agent. Like every software, like now you want to make it more like agentic system. Why suddenly agent become like a thing? Like why everyone want to do this? So think about it. If I'm building this familiar summoner, as founder, I want to summoner this cute animal. I want to create this image generation tool. And of course, you can do this in the traditional application. So in the traditional application, you can just call this API and generate the image. You can also just simply using, like right now, if you go to Gemini app, right, you can like select Nano Banana model and you can just create an image right away. If you go to Google Cloud, what has AI Studio, you can create image right away. And then that is the way that interact with Nano Banana model. So if you just make this API call and then you can simply just create an image, you do not need to like manage the state and make the whole system agentic. Then why we wanna like create agentic system, right? So think about that. When you open like Gemini app, when you open what has AI Studio and you're asking a question to creating the image, it's just a one-time generation, right? So later on, if you want to always generate, so for example, if you always want to generate a image with today's weather's background, right? So you need to actually have a real time, like you need to get a real time weather, like maybe you access the weather API to make the background the real time weather. Or for example, if you want to generate an image that is related to like a database, like a database of a pet animal, you want to like reference how the pet feature in that database and then generate this whole thing. Or you want to generate this avatar with today's date, like as a timestamp on this image. So if you want to generate this avatar, generate this picture with all those latest data, you need to make this API call, access the DB, and you need to create this software, this application to generate this image, right? So those are the potential things you can interact with. So with a traditional application, you need to define the deterministic logic, basically giving this input exactly like you need to like say if and then like checking the condition, giving the exact input. You're gonna like go to the different logic to say, okay, if the input is this, I need to check the weather and fetch the weather and then generate this image with this background. If the input is this, I need to like go to this date calendar and get the current date and then generate this image with the date mark on this image. If the request is I want to get the database, then I need to go to this. So in the traditional application, you can add in more control. You can add in more, like you can make the application like a product instead of you're making this API call on the Gemini app, right? You just generate the image. Or if you're building a traditional application, you can add in all those logic and adding all those control to the system. However, it might not cover all the case because you're pretty much hard coding all the conditions. So you're doing the if and then checking for the specific input, a specific structured input. So if you have this human, language input to have like a random thing, and then you need a system to understand what the human is about, and you need a system to understand how to use those different tool to creating a good image, right? So user may not just say, hey, I want to create this image with this weather. They might not say exactly this thing, right? So like in the actual application, the input can be very open-ended. It can cover many different use cases. So if you're only using the traditional software to hard code and add deterministic logic to check everything, it is not very flexible. It cannot adapt to all the different cases. So that's why we want to build a agentic system to automate the whole process, to be able to processing this human language input, and then to have the AI feature in the system, and also creating this program that's state for creating this program that can be a product. So that's why we want to introducing this agent concept. And today we're going to build this agent to summer the familiar, and you're going to see how we are going to creating this agent and adding those state control and connecting to different logic, and how we can handling all the open-ended kind of requests. So the topic today is we're gonna explain how to build this agent. So we talk a lot about why we need to build agent, right? So what is an agent really? When everyone's talking about, oh, I'm building this agent, what is an agent really? So for agent definition, this is like a very important component. So we have agent itself, you have like the model, you have this system instruction, you have the session, and then we have two important pieces. One is the model, another piece is toolbox. We have different tools, right? So how do the model and toolbox work together to create an agent? So basically, model is the brain for this agent. You can pick any type of model, like for example, Gemini 3.7 Flash model at the brain. So this brain gonna decide how do I pick the tool to solve my problem. So for example, user's input is I want to create this image, and then model gonna say, okay, I'm gonna use user seems like want to create an image. I'm going to use this image creation tool to create the image. So the model going to do this reasoning based on the input, and then going to pick the image creation tool to create the image. And then if the user says, okay, I want to create the image based on today's weather. I want to have the weather as a background for my avatar. And then the model going to say, okay, I'm going to using this weather tool and also image creation tool to create an image with the weather background. So model gonna pick this tool and this tool to create things together. And if the user says, okay, I wanna create this image with my this whole pet database. So the model gonna say, okay, I'm gonna pick the database access tool and also image creation access tool so that I can create this image related to this database. So the important piece is, model need to have instruction and also the session. So we're gonna get to that really soon. And then two important pieces, model and toolbox. So model is basically the brain, and then this brain gonna decide, okay, how am I gonna interact with these tools in the toolbox? So tools is that the way that you can interact with the external world, and you can add deterministic logic, and you can adding like it can be like calling API, it can be database access, and more. And today you're gonna learn how to build agent, how to creating the tools, and how does the state management work in this agent system. And today we're gonna using Google Agent Development Kit ADK to build this agent. So I'm gonna pause to see if we have any comments. Okay, I think folks here are still asking questions about credits. Yeah. Yeah, thanks, Christina, for help answering the question. And yeah, all right. So yeah, just let me just keep, if you have any questions, just let me know in the chat. I'll take a look. Yeah, so Lucas asked links to the lab. I think we previously sent the links to the lab. Oh yeah, thanks, Theodore. So this is the links to the lab. Thank you so much. Oh, so someone already made the first avatar. Yeah, I hope that you're enjoying this process. Yeah, it's amazing. Cool. So let me continue about how to build agent with ADK. Right. So just like what I mentioned, that is how agent work is we have important piece model and we have this toolbox. So whenever user ask a question to say, I want to generate an image, I want to generate image with this weather background, and then this model is a brain, it's gonna picking, okay, which tool I'm gonna use. So once model decide to use B, this B can be image creation tool. And agent development kit, agent framework, gonna call to B. And then you're gonna get a structured output. And the model gonna read the structured output, gonna decide, okay, if I need to make another call, if I need to make this call again, or if this sounds right. So once it says, okay, it looks right, the model gonna translate that structured output to the human language, so user eventually understand this response from this whole process. And then you may wonder why we want to use ADK today. There are so many agent framework nowadays, right? So because ADK is open source agent framework and it's free to use. You can, if you go to ADK's GitHub repo, you can see all the source code, and also you can see the related documentation. It's very easy to troubleshooting and visualize and testing your agent, like request and response locally through like agent ADK web interface, which I'm gonna show you in today's lab. It's very easy to troubleshooting, and it's easy to handle the state management, which I'm also gonna show you today. It's very like with ADK framework, it's very easy to adding control to your system through state management, through callback, through like workflow later on. Right, and also it's not only like easy to adding a lot of control to your system. It's also you can pretty much deploy the agent to any type of a cloud. Like on Google Cloud, we have great support for the observability and more. So basically, it's a framework that pretty good to adding the control to the system, I would say, and very easy to testing and interacting. And to use ADK to create the agent is pretty simple. You just need to so you can see the structure is you have this LM agent, it's one type of agent, and you give it a name and you give it a model. So remember this agent, we have import pins. Model is the model is a brain, and model gonna decide which tool to pick, right? So you give it a model. So now today's lab, we give it a Gemini 3 Flash model. With ADK, we can also give it any type of model. So if you like any open source model or any other model, you can also use with ADK. So it's model agnostic. And also you can put an instruction here. So the model gonna follow the instruction and pick things from the tool. And just like I mentioned before, like ADK's core member today, who's invent the ADK workflow, he's also supporting this chat. So if you have any question about ADK framework, you can also ask in the chat. Yeah, so that being said, I feel like I have a lot of talking. I'm gonna go back to the lab to walk through the lab to see how do you create your first agent so that you can generate the whole avatar. I'm gonna stop sharing this. I'm gonna stop sharing this. I'm gonna stop sharing this. I'm gonna share another window to do the lab. There is another window. Let me see. It should be here. Yeah. Okay. Right. So if you open this lab, I'm gonna I'm gonna zoom in so that it's clear to you. Yeah, so once you open the lab link, again, if you don't have the link to the lab, you can let us know in the chat. We will answer the question. Oh, I saw Joy ask the question, does ADK team has best practice to reduce latency in the multi-agent app with ADK workflow graph? Yeah, we're gonna talk about that in next week. So if you're interested in this question, don't forget to join next week's live. But we can also talk a little bit about this at the very end for today's Q&A. Okay, so to open this lab, first you want to set things up, right? So for the first step is you need to get an account with the billing. So you need to claim the credit over here. That is how you can get a free credit. And next thing is you want to start to do things in the Google Cloud Shell environment. I'm doing this because I want to have a controlled environment. So if you want to do to this lab in your local environment, you can definitely do so. But you just need to making sure, be aware of certain command that don't go, there's some Cloud Shell specific command. But if you like to do things in your local environment, feel free to do so. But the Google Cloud Shell is to make sure we manage everyone is under the same environment and we don't have like a version or dependency issue. So if you take a look at this is like a Google Cloud console, and I'm clicking the top right button. Right over here, there's just a button to say open the Cloud Shell terminal. So you can see this is a Cloud Shell. This is like a terminal on Google Cloud. This is like a VM on cloud that's very similar to a VS Code environment. So what I need to do is I just need to clone this GitHub. So this is today's lab. You can also let your agent reading this lab to learn more about how today's application is spin up. And then I'm running this script. So behind the scene, the script is trying to create a new project for me and attaching this billing account for me. So again, you can also run this lab if you already have a Google Cloud account, but you need to making sure your Google Cloud account has the permission to create the image, because I'm also help adjust the permission in the script. So you can see that it is creating this project for you and link the building to you automatically. And now you can see this yellow font over here. That means the project has successfully created for you. And the name is Agent Valley. So you will have a project that's named Agent Valley as a prefix automatically created for you. And next thing is we need to run this command to making sure we have all the environment variables set up. So over here, and this script, what it does is it will create a .env file, and it will use Vortex AI as a configuration for you, because we already created a Google Cloud project for you. So it will grab the current project and putting this as a .env file as a config in your profile, so that your ADK, your agent, has the correct environment variable. We also have configured the virtual environment for you. It's installing the all the necessary library. So here we're using ADK 2.8 the version for today's lab. Okay, so I'm getting this permission. I guess I need to. I think I can try it again. Maybe it needs some time for the service to the permission to be added. So let me try it again. Okay, so once I try it again, looks like everything's working, and then I am gonna run this thing to double check everything. Okay. Yeah, I have some folks mentioning that you can't follow along the video. So feel free to pause the video or watch the replay if you find the pace is too fast. But yeah, also let me know if you have any question. I'll be there to support you and answer any question you may have. Okay, so now I have everything set up. Time to create my very first agent. So just like what I mentioned before, because I'm creating the agent with Google Agent Development Kit, and this is a good thing about Agent Development Kit is it has something called ADK Web UI. So ADK Web UI is a way that you can just interact with the agent directly. So let's take a look and see what does it look like if this is first time if this is your first time doing this ADK. Also, let me know in the chat, like, is this your first time building things with ADK, or have you built with any other agent framework? Let me know in the chat. I'll pay attention to the chat. Great. So now once I click, so today's link, I have this UV run. So basically I have the UV environment, and then it will default to the port 8000. So once I open the port 8000, and this is the ADK Web UI, you can take a look. And this is the interface that you can directly interact and testing and talk to your agent. So on the top left, you can see I'm selecting the app. So right now I'm selecting this Groove, the basic agent over here. And you can see we have those things over here. And now this is the text box that you can chat with your agent. So you may wonder, okay, what is this Groove agent? What is this? So we have this practice over here to help you navigate the code. So what I would do is I will open a new tab, and I will type Cloud Shell Editor. Edit. So basically, this is will open this file. You can also directly open this file and read the code over here. So for those of you who try this lab in your local environment, you do not need to run Cloud Shell Edit. You can just open this file to read. This is the code we are currently running. So when you look at this code, you may say that, okay, we have this model, we have this instruction, but it seems like it is missing the toolbox, right? So it seems like right now it is just the model as a brain, and then it's follow the instruction, but it cannot do anything. And because we are using the Gemini 3 Flash model, it is only like text in, text out. So it cannot generate anything. It's not like a multimodal Gemini model, right? So with this model, with any type of input, if I want to say, hey, generate this image for me, it can only create a text output, because it is not like a model it's not an image generation model, and also it doesn't have any tool to generate the model. So this is like so I want to, when I talk to this agent, to see, oh, can you summon a Fox familiar for me? Because it doesn't have any tool, so I would expect it to give me a text output, because it cannot generating anything. But the whole point now of we doing this practice is I want to show you, why it's important to have a tool for the agent, because without a tool, you cannot interact with external world. It cannot do things. It can only do text output. You can only do the reasoning. Basically, it can only processing your request and then do the reasoning to think, okay, what to do next? What tool should I pick, right? It cannot actually do that thing. It cannot like make the API call or like access DB without a tool if you simply have this kind of format. So let me see. Okay, so you can see that it's like pretending it's generating something. It's like giving me, oh, okay, so this is like a bright-eyed little fox, but it's not actually creating the image. So if I go to the artifact tab, it's nothing generated over here, right? So what I want to do is I want to create a tool so that this model gonna decide, okay, I want to use the image generation tool to actually generate the image for me. And let's go back to the terminal, and then this is a terminal and running. And let's go to the create the first tool stage to creating your first tool. So to creating the first tool is first you need to open this agent file, and then in this agent framework, we have this toolbox. You need to put this cast candidate tool to the toolbox so that when the model is taking the request, you're going to actually using this tool, and this cast candidate tool is able to creating the familiar with Nano Banana model. So that's why it's very important to creating the tool. And we can go to this file and take a look. So I'm going to do Control C to end the process. And then I'm going to open this groove.agent Python file. So right now I am at groove agent.python file. So inside this code, you will see that I'm creating the simple one agent, right? It's using this remodel, this is a description, instruction, and now I'm gonna comment out this so that I have this tool like cast candidate tool, and you can like get into this cast candidate tool to take a look at how this is implemented over here. All right, so now if I am coming back to the terminal, to the web UI again, like this, I'm opening this web UI again. Opening this again, and then I am asking a question to say, okay, creating something cozy like rinse or drink tea. Or you can just be very creative. You can just say, oh, maybe create something. You can create like a rabbit, or create something that's drinking coffee or eat breakfast, or just be very creative with things you want to generate. So because right now I'm adding this tool, right? I am adding this tool to this framework so that the model is able to access this tool, and this tool is able to generating things, right? And this is the log over here. Let's take a look. It's actually it's using the model and then using the vortex. I think it's still processing behind the scene. And yeah, so while I'm waiting for the result, let me see if anyone have any questions. Is there a hot reload for ADK Web? Yes, it is. I haven't used this in the lab, so that's why I'm restarting. But that's a great question. Thanks asking, Hernan. And Kai asked, what is Agent Development Kit? Agent Development Kit is a Google Cloud Agent framework. So if you go to Google ADK, it's like a free open source agent framework that help you build agent easily and help you testing and managing agent easily. So this is like the tool we're using today. Great. So let me see. Do we have any question? So in the web preview, how to change the port? Yeah, so you can change the port. That's a good question. So when you say you change the port, you can just either, if you want, so right now I am at 8,000. So if you want to change the port, you can either specify the port, or I think there's a way to web preview the port, to change the port to the port number you want, and then change it. This is like a Cloud Shell specific. But yeah, thanks for the great question. And let me coming to see. Okay, great. It's creating this this cool, very cozy, drinking the tea. I like it. Yeah, it has a cute umbrella. I don't know what is your picture look like. I'm curious. But yeah, so you can see the artifact over here is the image we're generating. So basically, we are having this agent using this tool to creating this image, right? So that's why it's important to have the tool to the system. So because we are talking about the tool, let me go to the slide to explain more about what tools we can create, how to create tools, and also what is MCP server. How does this relate to MCP server? Let me share my screen for the slide. Okay, so Miki asking, what's the model I'm using? I'm using Gemini 3 Flash model as a brain, and also Nano Banana model to create an image. And you can take a look at the code resource to see the model we're using. You can also change the model. Thanks for the question. Okay, so I am continue with the tool. Right, so what you did before is you're adding this tool to the agent framework, right? But behind the scene, right, so for the tool, if you go to the tool function, we have those are something really worth mentioning. So we have this doc string at the very beginning. So usually if you build traditional software, if you're writing Python code, you may know that those doc string is just for human to read. For us, is to improve the code readability. But here, it's not only for human to easily read things. It's also for agent to understanding what this tool does, and also what are the input and output for these tools. So this is very important. This is not only for human to read when you're creating the tools. So when you're troubleshooting your tools, you also need to pay attention to the doc string that written in the plain English, because that also telling the agent that what these tools can do. So for the yeah, so this is like a picture for how the model is trying to creating the things behind the scenes. So basically, you're casting the agent to creating the image, and then save the artifact. But I think this sounds confusing, but I want to like go back to the basic for what are the tools and how the relationship with MCP server. MCP we're talking about all the time, right? So at the very beginning, in this lab, we are mentioning that we have different type of tools you can do, like to interact with external world, and also to access DB or to add custom logic. So in this lab, you're creating a tool to generate an image, right? But how does this relate to MCP? And why we are talking about MCP all suddenly, everyone's talking about MCP all the time. So if you take a look at this image, we have just two important components. One is MCP client and one is MCP server. So the client side usually is the agent side, right? The server side is we are containing all the different type of tools. And here, right, so does this look familiar to you? Like we have this model, instruction, and tools. Right. So this MCP server is containing the tools, and all those tools can either, for example, it can interact with database. It can do the API call, generating something. It can maybe send email. Maybe it can fetch something from database or go to some query, right? So it can do all those different actions, and all those actions can be a tool in this MCP server. So with MCP server, basically you have all those tools in the server. And on the client side, basically it's your agent side. When you're connecting the MCP server, you are listing all the available tools. And then you're going to pick the tools you want. So basically you're putting your tools on the server side that, so right now what we're doing in this lab is we're creating a local tool. This is decoupled with your whole system. You cannot extract this tool to be used for some other agent. But if you have a server that only containing the tool, every other client side connecting to your server can use these tools. So, like Google Cloud has Google Cloud Managed Server, like it can have a managed server to interact with BigQuery. So that is a tool to interact with BigQuery. And everyone can use that MCP server to interact with BigQuery, right? So that's how powerful it is. It's like a standard practice for nowadays with agentic system, that how you're interacting with the tools. But today's example, we are only creating this in the local. It's also doable. Like it's good for like a quick prototype. But if you want to scale, if you want to have a team, like everyone's working on different things, it's a good practice, right? You have a server side, and then people are developing the MCP server, and then you have a client side, people handling how to interact with the server side. So it's really good for scale, for manage a team to build agent system. It's also good practice for production. But today we only just touched the basic of the tools and everything. So now we are building this tools. We want to try everything in the app. So what we've done so far is you're creating your first agent, and then you're creating your first tools. And now what's next is let's try everything in this app. So this app is it's a front end, and then the back end is connecting to our agent. So if you want to explore more about how the lab what is the architecture, feel free to examine this code repo over here. But let's take a look to see what does everything look like in the application, because previously we only interact with agent side, right? We get familiar with ADK Web UI, and then you can directly talk to the agent. But this is like a development tool for you to talk to the agent, to testing it, to visualize everything, to see the tracing. It's a dev tool. It's not the actual application you want to build. And nowadays, if you want to build the agent system, you probably want to have application side, right? So this is an example application that has a front end and back end, and the back end is the agent system we are creating. And let's take a look at how to spin up. What does the application look like, and to play around the familiar in this application. So what I do is I'm gonna copy this command. I'm gonna paste it to the terminal. So I have this valley.shell script to spin up the whole thing, and then waiting for the system to running. So while I'm waiting, yay, you're at the valley, great. Let me read the chat to see if anyone have any questions. Do we have a private, do we always provide tools, or model can pick right tool based on the prompt? A pick right tool based on the prompt. Yeah, this is a great question, Blagil, for pronouncing your name correct. But yeah, so do we always provide? So basically, in this use case, we are creating our own tools, custom tools, right? But there are some already exist MCP server that they already have this tools available for you, so that you can connecting. You can also using the existing MCP server, right? You do not need to always write your own tool logic, and also can model pick the right tool based on the prompt. Yeah, that is the whole point. You got it right, because model basically follow the instruction and then gonna pick the tool for you. So today we are using Gemini 3 as a brain to pick the tool. So whatever model you put to the agent framework, that model is a brain to decide, okay, which tool should I put? It's based on the instruction, not prompt. So it follows the instruction, and then the prompt is your input, and then you're gonna do the reasoning based on your input request. Okay, thanks for all the question. And I'm gonna continue. Where's my window? Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna clicking this, and I think previously someone asking about the host port is 3200. So you can change the port number if you modify the shell script or manually spin up the server. Yeah, so once you spin up, you will see this agent valley. So now we have this light up. So if you're coming back tomorrow or next week or the third week, so we will light up each one of them one by one. And for the first week, when you spin up this, you will see you want to summon your first familiar, and then you want to pick. So first of all, you can pick a type you like. You can pick a fox, cat, or dragon, deer, dog. I don't know which one you want to pick. Anyone pick anything? I'm gonna pick dragon. Think it's cute. So I'm gonna pick any prompt here, but you can also write your own prompt. Let me see if anyone share any suggestions on the kind. I'm gonna see the chat to see anyone give me something. Okay, maybe there's a delay, but I'm gonna continue. Okay, so I'm gonna summon this dragon, and behind the scene, we have this user input as a prompt, and the models, Gemini 3 model, gonna decide, okay, I'm gonna use a tool to generate image. So behind the scene it's actually using a tool to generating the image, and we can see the console over here to see the process. It might take a while to generating things. So while I'm waiting, I'm gonna see the comments. Oh, let me see the comment. Let me know if you have any comments. You can jump but not fly. What does that mean? That's an agent. Try dragonfly. Yeah, you can try. This question: does the agent work by creating prompt on their own with the help of LLM and then give it some LLM to get some feedback? Oh, this is a great question. So if you're using ADK, ADK has something called ADK Optimize that it can automatically change the prompt based on the evaluator you have. Oh my gosh, I'm creating the cat. I guess this is a bug, but I'm gonna summer again. Again, you can see that it's not very reliable because it's the agent. It's not like a deterministic thing. Okay, cool. Coming back to this question, uh, creating the prompt based on their own. Yeah, so agent, usually you need to give the agent a prompt, right? But with ADK, you have something called ADK optimized to updating the prompt with the feedback. And actually, we have this loop engineering lab that you can take a look. Maybe Christina, if you're listening, you can share that lab link so that everyone can take a look. Thank you so much. And the cat is in the state. Need important no cat. Yes, we need to add this to the instruction. A dragon-like cat. Yeah, exactly. I hope that this time it's like a cat, but oh, it's like a dragon. But let's see. Okay, sure. I guess because while we're waiting for this, I hope that for those of you who spin up the lab on your own, you can creating things as expected. Let me see. Oh, I think it's still working in progress. Oh my gosh, still a cat. Fine. Really? Oh, really? Maybe I'll refresh the page. Can I try? Maybe I'll try it all. Really? It's a cat again? Oh, okay. So while I'm waiting for the... Is cat for everyone? I guess dragon can swing. Okay, you got a blue dragon. Congratulations. Nothing, just a cat. Really? I tested this lab this morning several times. It's like different animal. Really? It's cat for you? Okay. Oh yeah, it's owl. Great. I guess it's not always cat. So I'm claiming this this owl, and this is the familiar and summer I generate today, and then behind the scene it is using the generation tool, like image generation tool, to generating this. And you can see over here, I can, for example, I can dress up my familiar by clicking the things and dressing things up. And then if you keep clicking more things, you can continue dress things up. So when we dress things up, there's a question, right? How do you make sure it's the same? Oh, wait. It's 429. Okay. So for those of you who have 429 issue, you need to make sure you try it again. Yeah, I'm gonna keep trying this again. Okay, so 429. I'm gonna wait a bit and then try this again. Yeah. So yeah. So supposedly it will dress things up like this lab. You know, like you're able to dress your familiar up, right? But how does that work? Why when we dress things up? How do you keep this character consistent? Like, what if you're dressing something up and then the character is changed? How do you keep the same character? And that is we're adding the state control to the system. So for the time purpose, I'm gonna jump to this state part to quickly explain what is a state and how do we use state to control the character consistency. Right. So let's take a look to continue try this lab with ADK Web UI. So first of all, we want to creating another tool by log the candidate, and then we want to test things in the lab to see that we actually can log this candidate thing. And then when you wonder why we want to create another tool to log the candidate, because to make the character consistent, there are multiple ways to make character consistency. Like one way is you have multi-turn conversation. So basically, if you talk to Gemini app, so if you open Gemini app, and if you select Nano Banana model, and then you ask it to generate image, you give this image, and then you want to keep changing that original image. with multi-turn conversation, it will able to understand what's the image before and then creating the things. But over here, if it's a system, right? So it's hard for you to have this multi-turn conversation. What we're doing is we are using this reference image as a state control. So every time we're generating a new thing, we want to reference the original character image. So we want to, every time we want to putting on something, we will always want to have this original image as a reference image, and then we keep adding things on. So with a reference image to anchor the character, it will not change the character, and then it will keep adding things. So we want to creating a log candidate tool to anchor this reference image, so that later on when you're adding this more thing, later on when you're adding more accessory to when you dress up your familiar, you can anchor, you have this reference image to anchor the original character, to keep the character consistent, to keep the character feature consistent. And so what we're doing right now is we want to creating another tool to keep the consistency. Okay, so I'm gonna like in another window, I am gonna first go to this file. And then I'm gonna adding another tool, and this tool is to log the candidate, is to get the reference image logged. So this log candidate, if you go to this function, this is another function tool, and this is adding some deterministic logic to do the state control. And later on, we're gonna explain what is the state control. But what it does is it's like using the state to anchor this reference image, so that everything generation is referencing the same image. So now I'm changing this tool. I'm adding this tool. I want to take a look in my ADK Web UI. So right now I am opening the first app. So this app is like, we are adding this new tool. Oh, so we have this two app. One app is we don't have the locking. One app is we do have the locking, I think. Oh wait, I think it's the next one. Okay, never mind. But yeah, so I'm opening this and I'm gonna ask a question. Basically, you can ask any question you want, but this is just a sample question to say summer something cozy, like a ring, and call it mochi. It's like something very random, but you can say summer cute dragon that can file, or summer a cat or something. Yeah, so this is like an example, any example prompt. So the whole testing is we want to like give this try, and then we want to see how we can anchor this reference image in the state control in the ADK Web UI. That is also a benefit of using ADK Web UI is you can visualize all the state, and you can see how the state is passing from the whole agent system. So that's why it's like a cool developer web UI. So I'm gonna take a look at the live stream chat to see if anyone have any question. So excellent. Do you feedback the image generated and the reference image? Yeah. So every time we create, so this is a great question. If you wonder how we are give back this reference image, that is through our callback control. So we will talk about what is callback and how we can pass back this reference image really soon. So to pass back it, you can pass back the original reference image so that you can only put on one single accessory, right? So if you want to keep putting on many different clothes or many different accessory, you can keep passing the latest image and then use that as a reference image as a base to generating more. So it depends on what image you pass back. What is a reference image? You basically can define the state, like how you can dress up your familiar. And this is a great question. So to solve this question, we'll get to the callback part really soon. Let me go back to the, Oh my gosh, I have this 4 to 9 arrow again. But yeah, 4 to 9 arrow, you need to wait a bit and retry because I don't want to like waste your time. Basically, if you are you having this question and then you are generating something, you will see we have a state in the state result in the if you hover on things like that, you can, if you hover on log candidate, you will see the state in the pop-up. And you can also visualize the state by clicking this button, like clicking the state tab. So that is how you can save things in the state and pass pass state to each other, right? Yeah, so let's go to this callback part that to address the question that how do you pass back the state? How like once I finish generating, how do I know this reference image in the next round, right? So this is where you need to know about the callback concept. So I'm gonna share my slide to talk about callback. Here's my slide. Okay. This is the state part. This is a reference image part. So basically, we want to anchor the reference image so that every time it's generating the same, it's generating things based on the same reference image. If you don't anchor that, it will generating a random thing, right? So now let's talk about how do we pass back this state? How do we, like, once we're generating this image, next turn, how do I know this is the base image, right? And this is to understand that, you need to understand what is the callback. So basic callback is like an intercept in the agent life cycle. You know, like originally we talk about agent is model as a brain, and then you're gonna selecting different tools from the toolbox, right? So before we even start the whole agent, we can have this before agent callback to adding this custom logic there. And then before the model is going to decide, okay, which tool should I pick? What should I give back to the user? You can also have before model callback to potentially adding the logic. Similarly for after model callback, before tool callback, after tool callback, and after agent callback. So every time, every single check, you have pretty much adding intercept the model lifecycle, adding this checkpoint in the whole lifecycle. So before the model is picking the image generation tool, you can add in some sort of logic. And after it's picking the image generation tool, you can also add in sort of logic, right? So that way, like to address the question originally we have, how do we next term, when we're generating the image, how do we know that what is a reference image? So you can, like, after you're creating the image, you can have after to callback to save the things to the state. And then next time before you're using the tool, you can adding the logic to the before tool callback so that you will able to fetch the state and then use that reference image as a starting point, right? So how do you pass among the state? It is like it is where that you can changing, like whether you want to accumulate accessory with the original image, or you can just only put on the one reference, only one accessory. So for example, if you only want to put on one accessory, the reference image should always be the original thing. So every time after the generation, you should not update reference image. You should always keep the original reference image as a shared state, right? But if you want to keep putting on 3 different type of clothes all together, and you're putting on different like hat, putting on different glasses all together, and then so every time you're generating a new thing, you need to update the state with, like, in the after to callback to update the state, and the next time before you're generating things, you will check that state, so that way you can keep accumulating the things. And also in this lab, we also using like many other like state control in the callback. So if you go to the callback.python file, pretty much we are putting all the callback logic over there. This is also a benefit of that. Yeah, so Shangjie, who is a core member of ADK, answering the question. Thanks for answering the question. Yeah. James asked, can you share the slide? Yeah, I will share the slide to the email for everyone who subscribed, who registered the RSVP event. I will share the slide to you. So Init asked Redis Postgres. If you're asking about the memory, we were covering the different type of memory and when to use different type of memory data solution in the future week, in this five week live stream. Yeah. Thanks for answering the question. And yeah, so I'm gonna coming back to the demo just to give one last like walkthrough, and then we're gonna wrap up with Q&A really soon. So let me stop the screen and share this one. Yeah. So the last step for this lab is you need to take a look at this callback file, and in the callback file, you will see how we are managing the state for today's lab, right? So it's like multiple of them, but basically we have this, basically the important thing is we are in the before tool and after tool, we are logging the reference image. So this is like how you can define the callback feature. And with a callback feature in this lab UI, that's why we can keep everything consistent. So I'm gonna give it one last try to see if I can do a live demo of a state management with putting on one single accessory, and you can see the lab on the right-hand side. So hopefully I don't run into Fortnite issue, but if I do run into Fortnite issue, I really hope that things works on your side. So what I hope to see is I'll hope to see that I dress up things like, once I putting on the one type of accessory, you will have this things putting on, and you will keep the character consistent. So that is because you keep the original image as the reference image. So this example is if you turn on the if you have identity log off. So basically, every time you will use previous one as reference image. So this is like identity log on the top right. So if you turn it on, you will only able to put on the one accessory. If you turn it off, you will use the previous one. So you can see that this owl is like dressed up in a very colorful way because it's putting on all the outfit together. And that is how, if you have issue doing things, you can like try starting over and regenerating things. Okay, I guess my agent is pending for too long, so I cannot give you a live demo. But yeah, I really hope that the thing's working on your end. So once you're running this, you can also visualizing to see how it is like doing the state control and doing the injection and everything on the right-hand side. And also we have today's lab. Today, so for everyone who signed up through Google RSVP page, I will email you all the slide and everything. We have the recording for today's episode. I'm gonna like wrap up some concepts, and then I'm gonna go to Q&A. So yeah, this is like a flow for how we can ping the reference. So basically, we have this before agent callback, before model callback, before tool callback. So in each of them, this is exactly the flow of how we controlling the whole thing. So after the model, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna picking this tool. And then before it's using the tool, you're gonna pin this reference image, and then it will generate the look based on this reference image. And after the tool, it will record this outfit thing and then re-inject in every turn. So this is like the flow for behind the scene how things work in our app. And also we also have this. Wait, did I share the right screen? Oh no, I didn't share the right screen. Sorry. Let me share the lab. Okay. Okay, great. Yeah. So again, this is the This is the screen I was sharing before. So basically we have this before model, after model, and before tool. So basically after this model is picking the tool, and then it's gonna ping the image, generating the look, and then it's gonna record the output their delta and then coming back. So yeah, this is a simpler version. Of course, our lab is like, it's a more, our state handling in the file is more complex. But basically, we're just after the tool, we want to updating the state, and before the tool, we want to like ping this reference image from the state so that every time it's generating from an anchored image. You can also learn from this concept, to putting the state you want to control in the shared state. So in the shared state, every tool and agent. So agent can talk to the tool through the shared state. Tool can talk to communicate to different tool. Like tool can communicate to agent with state. Agent can communicate with other agent with the state. So state is shared among all the things in the system. Yeah, so that's it for today's section. So basically we covered everything from creating your very first agent and you're learning creating your first tool to generating an image. So you understand why you need to create a tool and how you can create a tool, right? So once you're connecting the tool, you're somewhere your very first, very cute familiar, and then you want to dress things up. To understand how to dress things up, we're introducing the state management, we're introducing the callback, so you're understanding how to pass the reference image as an anchor at the starting point to make the image consistency. So we covered what is agent, how to create the tools, how to manage your state, and also the callback for the agent. And next week, we're going to talk more about how do we creating a multi-agent system and also workflow for that. So if you like today's lab or if you want to learn more about workflow, don't forget to coming back next week. And I'm going to bring Tilda back so that we can do more Q&A. If you have any questions, let us know. I'm going to bring back, Hi,
Hello,
Tilda.
hello.
Yeah.
I think there were definitely some good questions in the chat.
Yeah.
Azoya, I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce your name right, asks, what observability does ADK provide in production? Which is a really good question.
So with ADK, okay. I couldn't see the Azoya's question, but yeah, I think that's a good question. Like ADK Web UI is you're visualizing things on the ADK in your local. I think you can also visualizing ADK Web UI on cloud as well if you deploy it with agent runtime. And also when you deploy with cloud trace turning on, you can have all the tracing and observability on the cloud tracing. So in the lab, Christina, if you have it, we have all the instruction of how you can deploy it. Like you can turn on the cloud tracing, and then you can visualizing all the trace in the cloud trace on Google Cloud, and you can also connect with BigQuery plugin to curate all the data. So there are multiple ways of visualizing things. It's like great support with Google Cloud system. Yeah, but of course you can deploy this with to other cloud solution you're comfortable with. Yeah.
Yeah. Another question. What is the recommended production architecture for sharing tools across many agents without duplicating code?
Sorry, I'm looking for that question.
It's like I had to scroll back a little bit because people were asking good questions so fast I couldn't keep up.
Okay. Do you mind continue the question? Like repeat the question?
Yeah. So if you want to share tools across many agents without duplicating the code, what are some good architectural patterns for that?
Oh, I think that's what MCP for, because if you deploy your tool, for example, you deploy your tool to a server and it's like basically URL, right? Every other agent client can connect into that. It's similar to how microservices work, right? So if you have like a remote server and you can just connect to that server. But similarly, if you have a tool and you have like a remote server for your tool, and then you basically you can connect into that remote server. And MCP is just a standard protocol, so that it standardizes how agent and tool communicate things, so that it can potentially supporting more. It's a standardized things, right? But yeah, essentially you can think of it like you're creating a microservice for your tool. You're deploying the things. So that's how I understand it. What do you think, Tilda?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right. And the only limitations is like, since MCP loads all the functions, you kind of got to be careful about how, like, there's a hard limit on how many tools you could include. And so you might want to also consider things like skills if what you really want is a reusable prompt and not sort of like a dynamic function that needs to interact with the outside.
Yeah, that's great. Also, Shangjie mentioned the open telemetry. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. Yeah, of course you can use open telemetry for observability with ADK deployment. Yeah, thanks, Shangjie, for answering the question.
Yeah. Anybody else have any questions?
Oh, let me see the chat. Yeah, just like Christina mentioned, the credit is expiring in 12 hours. So for those of you who are watching this live, you can still using this credit to play around, but it's not gonna valid for after today. So give it a try.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining, and we look forward to seeing you next week, hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. I was distracted by another question in the chat. Do you mind we go through more questions?
Yeah, of course. I can't seem to get the lock candidates to show up in the graph view. Any tips?
Oh yeah, so the graph view in ADK Web UI is basically just showcase exactly what's going on in your ADK. So maybe you forget to add log candidate to your agent, or maybe you're not selecting the right agent. So that also shows that it's a good tool for you to visualizing and troubleshooting what's going on in your ADK. I have another question to say, can I use anti-gravity as another option instead of agent ADK? I think this is a good question because you can use anti-gravity to pretty much creating any agent with Google Agent Development Kit, and you can use, and also Google ADK support anti-gravity SDK like a manage agent option as well. Basically, you can use any gravity agent as a manage agent in your ADK, so that you do not need to. It basically has all the anti-gravity feature, but you do not need to worry about it. But it's all like managed for you. So if you're also curious to do curious about that, you can search. You can Google ADK managed agent. You can see how to use anti-gravity SDK inside agent ADK. But yeah, anti-gravity is like a coding tool. Like it's not coding tool. It's like it's a tool for you to basically creating things. But ADK is like a more low level. You can add more customization, and you can potentially build an anti-gravity with Google ADK.
Yeah, anti-gravity has like a CLI or like an IDE. So it's just like a more generalized tool for you to build with, although it also has some specialized features that let you build agents. And ADK is just our the SDK that helps you build agents within Google Stack specifically, yes?
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. Do you have any other question?
I want to learn more about, yes.
Yeah.
I want to learn more about ADK. Where should I start? I'll drop a link in the chat.
Yeah, we also, if we can send some learning material to everyone who RSVP to this event, and also ADK's GitHub and ADK doc is a good starting point. We also have some tutorial. We can send it to you through the chat or through the email if you sign up a Google RSVP event. Yeah. Any other question? You see, or should we wrap up?
One more.
Yeah.
I don't have a good answer for this one. Maybe you do. But how do we stop agents from blindly reinforcing user assumptions? What ADK pattern forces an agent to audit both its own reasoning and a user's implicit bias?
Yeah. So how do we start agent from reinforce user assumption? Yeah. So this basically you're asking. So my understanding is you're trying to asking. Maybe you're trying to asking how do we better. So my understanding is you're asking this question because you want adding more control to your agent. You don't want to let it to affected by users' bias or. So for example, if you keep asking, if you're asking the question in the one session and then agent give you the wrong answer, or maybe the trajectory is picking the wrong tool, And then if you keep learning from this experience, or if you keep having the conversation in this thing, you're basically keep iterating from your wrong experience. So you're reinforce the bad behavior, right? So if that's my understanding of your question, that you're pretty much reinforce the bad experience, so that the result is not very accurate. So I would think of it from different angle. That first of all, I would think of it from like agent evaluation angle, that you need to have a really good golden data set to know what is a good reference result. And also I will think of it from an agent memory angle. Basically, if you have same thing in the same short-term memory, you will learn from the wrong result. So I will manage the memory so that it won't keep learning from the wrong result. So that's the angle I will look at. But I think we can definitely explore more on this one. I think this is a really good one. Yeah.
I have one thought on this too, which is like a multi-agentic system where like you have agent A auditing agent B's work is like one way to kind of mitigate bias, or like having a human in the loop reviewing for critical workflows before you send that email to your boss or do something where you can't take it back. Those are all ways of mitigating bias. But yeah, that's all I got. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you for all the great questions. I think that's it. Tilda, do you want to take more, or
I think that's it.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody. Catch you next time.
Thank
Bye.
you, everyone. See you next week. Bye.